Welcome back to Ignite Test Prep. Today's video, mute that your audio too high. On today's video, basically, starting off Saturday morning with some good old Ignite mentors react to viral educational content. Let's find out, what are people saying about how to actually get into school? What are people saying about the Ivies? About just what's really the mainstream educational content? We're going to break down, we're going to expose all the lies out there, all the false information, the fraudulent creators, and we're genuinely going to go to war with everyone in test prep to assert dominance. There's no Khan Academy, no Acely, no varsity tutoring. Not a single one of those organizations comes one fraction of close to the levels that we operate at. And we're going to prove that today. So, what do we think about hashtag test prep TikTok?
So let's take a look at hashtag test prep TikTok. So let's look at, the first video we'll choose. Let's choose this one. Actually, no. Let's
Wait,
see.
are you sharing your screen right now?
Can you see it?
I only see a test prep TikTok on Google.
Fuck yeah, let me do this. What about now?
Yeah, there we go.
I bet. Let's look at this one for the first video.
Let's get my
Pause it. So obviously, notice how instead of actually teaching her students quality strategies to perform well on these tests, instead of actually investing her time and energy into developing systems and strategies for her students, she's doing this goofy stuff. She's moving desks around in her classroom. She's trying to implement security measures, anti-cheating measures. This is the worst kind of teacher right here, because all she cares about is security, doing rules, this and that, controlling her students. She's the kind of teacher that makes students absolutely despise school.
Exactly. And I couldn't agree more, because why are we focusing on students cheating, students being far away from each other, and not focusing on the physical content that needs to be studied to do well on these tests? The different tips, the different skills, tricks, that is what she should be telling her students when it comes to state testing. And I feel like so far she hasn't showed a good example of that at all. But let's continue on the video. See, this is another thing that's bad. When you take a standardized test, you're going to be sitting in that desk for around 3 hours. And so when you take that test, you're going to want as much energy as you can get. You need energy. And the way you get energy when it comes to taking tests is by eating right. You don't want to eat something that's filled with 100% sugar. These donuts are not good for test taking at all. And I know it might sound like I'm reaching or over exaggerating, but I'm really not. You get most of your food or most of your energy from carbohydrates, and these are processed carbohydrates. These are not real. So that's one thing I would say.
Big facts, big facts. Yeah, the more processed sugars that you eat, the more you're gonna have these energy crashes. What does that mean? That means that you're gonna be taking the test and you literally won't be able to focus. You'll have no energy in your system. If you want to avoid that, eat clean, eat raw animal fats. We actually talk about this in our Ignite Black book. We have the complete royal handbook to your nutrition. But yeah, raw animal fats, because you got to remember your brain is all fat. So that's what it needs for proper nutrition.
Exactly. So let's continue with this video.
Positive. So to be honest, obviously there's something to be said about being positive, having that positive mindset. So like definitely props to the teacher for to some extent just giving her students good energy. It's almost like she went 2 steps backward doing all that stuff with the chairs and the security, 2 steps forward writing these positive words on the desk. But ultimately she never actually went anywhere because she never actually taught these students. She never taught them actual math, reading. She never gave them real strategies. She's going here, going there, going backwards, going forward, ending up in the same place.
Exactly. And so what you want to do here is you want to make test taking very simple. You don't want to do too much. You just want to make sure you're getting enough sleep before you take this test, eating right, and properly preparing, which means no cramming, no last minute studying. Just make sure you give yourself an ample amount of time before you're taking this test. All right, so now let's get into a different video. Let's see. What should we choose here? Let's choose.
What is that? What is a star test? Actually, it doesn't matter. Go
Nah,
third row at the bottom, and then second from the left, or that
this
one.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that a pacer? Isn't
A
that
what?
running? Isn't that a running test? The beep test?
Yeah, I
I
think it
think
is.
she means a pacer test. Which,
How's
by the
this study?
way, I smoked that score.
Wait, back in the day, I was the best pacer test runner there was.
Easy.
Let me
Don't feel super
restart this.
Are you struggling with
Yeah, so she claims that math is the hardest section on the ACT. But in my opinion, I feel like this is just not true at all. Because when it comes to math, this should be the section that you're getting the most free points and you're scoring the highest in. And the reason why I'm saying this is because 60% of the content in the math, you're already learning in school. And then the rest of the 40% of the content, it's up to you to use critical thinking, use your answers to give you clues, and just stuff like that. And so I feel like the math, it's definitely not the hardest. It's just most people don't realize that their math level is significantly lower than what it should be. They think just because they're getting A's in their freshman year algebra class and then an A in their freshman year geometry class, that they're learning the proper math material they need. But what they need to know is you need to make sure you're just all around very proficient in math. You should easily be getting algebra questions just like that. Geometry, you should be getting them just like that. The ones you should be struggling on are the ones that take actual critical thinking. And other than that, you should not be studying or struggling on the math. What do you think about that, Sobel?
Yeah, 100% agreed. This is really just an indication of her lack of experience working with a vast amount of students because I can tell you straight up, thousands of students have come to us, and by and large, students generally suffer more from reading difficulty than from math difficulty. Why is this? Because exactly like Zach said, they teach it in school, which means every skill that you're tested on in ACT and SAT, you end up learning like in geometry and algebra 2, basically those critical years right before you actually take the test. On the other hand, though, reading comprehension and grammar isn't as taught in schools. Teachers don't really teach about comma splicing and about certain grammatical the rules, the regulations, just all the cheat codes to it. That's not as commonly taught. And so that's why here at Ignite, we build up your concepts from the ground up for both of them so that you never walk into any test confused or struggling with math. That's really only a problem that happens when you go to average tutors like this individual.
That's true. I 100% agree. Let's take a look at a different type of video.
Yeah, that one.
All right.
Wait, pause it. What did she end up with? What was her score?
So she ended up with, I guess in this class she got an A plus in her neuroscience class.
No, doesn't that say 90?
It says 90, but it says grade A plus.
That means she got a 90 on the final. Her grade was still an A plus apparently, I guess.
So right now, honestly, she's giving some good advice, but let's just translate it to the high school student. So she said that you want to make sure you are looking and taking note of all your lectures. So for a high school student, when you're in class, you want to first make sure you're always listening to your teacher because you never know when your teacher's going to throw in some random facts that'll really help you on your tests. So definitely always pay attention to your teacher. Another thing is, she said, focus on timing. When it comes to any test, timing is just as important as accuracy. It's very important because you could know all the content on a test, but end up still just doing bad on the test because you didn't finish in time. So you got to work on those things. You got to make sure your accuracy is good. You're getting all those questions right, but at the same time, you got to make sure you're finishing with an ample amount of time because you don't want to be the student who knows all the material but could just never get the test done on time.
So You see, a lot of people don't realize that SAT is a very much time critical test. What this means is your student have an average of 45 seconds to an hour to a minute and a half per question. If they fall behind at any part of the SAT, then they're going to end up in a situation where they have 2 minutes and 10 questions. How are they possibly going to do that? They're going to get them wrong. That's how you end up with average scores. We train all of our students on time efficient strategies. We have our Ivy League coaches drill these questions with them to make sure that no matter what the difficulty level, what the concept is, our students can knock them out in 1 minute flat or less.
Exactly. So let's take a look at one more video. Let's see. Let's get a good one in. Let's get a really good one in. Let's look at this. Let's look at not that one. ACT reading hack.
Low-key, she's
As
not
when you
that
say
viral.
night.
She's not that viral.
It don't even matter though. We're just reacting.
This is us reacting to viral TikTok advice.
Oh, it's gotta be viral.
Ideally.
Oh.
Oh, that girl top left.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. See, right, what she said right here is complete garbage. You do not want to be getting more answers wrong than you're getting right, even when it comes to practice. What she should have said is when you get questions wrong and review them properly, this improves your likelihood of getting the answers correct the next time. Because if you're getting questions wrong constantly and none of these questions you're properly reviewing on how to get them correct, you're never going to get them correct. What do you think about that, Silver?
That's exactly right. And see, this is a good reason why we're reviewing the viral advice because you can clearly tell this girl's just trying to sound interesting. She's just trying to sound separated from the crowd. You can tell with that caption right there. If you're prepping for an exam, don't study, do this instead. One, that M dash makes it look a lot like ChatGPT. But two, the most important thing right here is she's just saying what she can to get attention. At the end of the day, you do actually need to study because just drilling problems, it'll feel more productive because you're taking actions, but you're just on a hamster wheel. You're just taking actions, but honestly going nowhere in the real world. Instead, what you actually want to do is you want to learn the concepts from a trusted mentor, someone who's already achieved a perfect score. And then you want to drill those problems, and then you want to take practice tests and refine.
Exactly. That is the proper way to do it. And I feel like this translates in all areas of education. You want to make sure you're always refining and not just getting through problems, getting through workbooks, getting through worksheets. You don't want to do that. You need to focus on the content and make sure you're mastering the content to your fullest potential. And see, that's exactly what we do here at Ignite. We make sure that not only are you getting multiple workbooks, multiple questions in, but you're also just getting those answers right and refining the content. We're constantly refining the content, changing the methods, and making sure that whatever method you're using is 100% suitable to you. So if you want more of these tips, I suggest you comment book in the comments and we'll send over that black book to you with all the tips and just test taking materials that you're going to need. And if you want to get it by yourself, you could also go to ignitechessprep.com/blackbook. We'll give you that black book and it'll save your life.
Percent. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's time to it's really just time to start taking the mainstream advice and using it thinking it's gonna help you. Cause oh bro,
Yeah. Ria. Oh,
Anna's in there? Ria's in
yeah.
there for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing Anna. Tell Anna to join.
She said Anna says she's waiting in the Zoom.
Or you could call her, but alright, there we go.
All right, we could end it there. But
Oh, hold up. Yo, what's up, Ria? How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Great. So yeah, let me introduce you to Anna. She is one of our specialists. She went to Yale,
Recording in progress.
and yeah, she's helped a ton of our students really just crush the SAT. So I think you wanted to work on A push and the SAT, but yeah, feel free to ask Anna whatever you want to work on. Anna, can you turn your camera on and video on and stuff? Sweet. All right. Hope you guys have a great rest of your lesson, and let me know if you need anything.
Okay. So thank you. Sounds good.
Yo, bro. Uh, Anna put on a bunch of makeup and got her hair done.
Kitty, because of that recording in progress.
Yo. Bro,
Alright.
she went above and she got rid of that Aaron Yeager haircut.
Wait, so is her hair
Yo.
shorter or longer?
It's just like she like curled it. I think it's called like a blowout or something. Like,
Oh yeah.
and she had makeup on too.
Like, what would you rate her right now?
Solid like 3.5. Solid 8. She a solid 8 you smoke up on a Tuesday afternoon.
A solid 8, I bet. But we can end this video. Make sure when we're ending the videos, we want to end it strong. So like the beginning of the video should be strong and the ending should be just as strong. Like we don't want to ramble too much before we end it. We want to make it like clear and concise. They get the message and they leave with something.
Okay, bet.
So like ideally we give the message and then we wrap it on how it pertains to the Black Book. We give them the link and we end it right there.
Sweet. At the end of the day, don't be going to the mainstream and thinking that you're gonna get gold. All you're gonna get in the mainstream is a bunch of clowns saying whatever they can to get your attention. What's really valuable, go to the niche channels. Channels like ours where we deliver the real cutting edge tips. Because you gotta remember, the best of the best, we can only service 10, 12, at the very most 15 families at a time. So what that means is we intentionally don't try to go viral. We don't try to say things that are just going to get attention. We only tell you what's going to actually work.
Exactly. And so go to ignitetestprep.com/blackbook. Get that free Black Book. It's going to give you so many tips and just set you ahead of the curve when compared to these normal students now in high school. All right. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.